This video is sponsored by Surfshark. Over the last few years, Marvel has gone the way of Star Wars. Case in point, Secret Invasion, much like Ahsoka, was a ratings disaster, landing with a thud. Even the Rhodey being a Skrull revelation wasn't met with a shock so much as it was met with a shrug, because no one cares. Such is the state of Marvel now. There is no excitement left. For Disney, between the falling share price and mounting backlash over Snow White, that is untenable. And there are indeed signs drastic measures are being taken to get fans excited again. But will these measures be the right ones, or will Disney double down on what drove audiences away in the first place? We shall see, for in this editorial, we will break down the news of shifting release dates, the change in writers and what that implies, and finally, if this will be enough, or if even more drastic measures are required to get fans back. Because as it stands, compared to the height of Phase 3, 2/3 of the audience are gone. And if the response to Secret Invasion is anything to go by, the rest are in the process of walking out the door. Disney Plus and the company's entire streaming strategy is a failure, which is no doubt a big part of the reason why Disney's share price, which it was once thought couldn't possibly dip as low as $85, is fast approaching the 70s.
Dang it, Bob!
That said, even if you're among the many that already cancelled their Disney Plus subscription, or you're among those thinking about doing so in the near future, then we urge you, please don't take to the high seas, as neither Midnight's Edge nor our sponsors condone piracy. Not only is piracy wrong, you would be exposing yourself to endless spyware, tracking software and other malware out there on the high seas. And that's on top of all the data that could be stolen from you during all of your regular browsing and sold to third parties. Have you noticed all the spam and scam emails you're getting? Well, they got your email from those third parties. That's how that happened. There is a fix for all of that though. To protect yourself, you need to protect your data, and a good way of doing that is through a VPN, such as the one delivered by this channel's sponsor, Surfshark. A VPN, or Virtual Private Network, is a privacy protection tool which guarantees instant online safety and encrypts all data sent via the internet, thereby protecting your data and you. But there's more. Surfshark allows you to bypass geo-blocking restrictions by changing the country you access the internet from, which gives some great advantages when it comes to streaming. For instance, you can access 15 different Netflix libraries, all with a different selection of movies and TV series, simply by changing your virtual location. Which is easy, because Surfshark has over 3,200 servers in more than 100 countries around the world. Outside of the US, Star, the international version of Hulu, comes bundled with Disney+. If you're in the US and change your location to, say, the UK, well then you just might get that too. That's pretty good, but it gets even better. If you type in the code MIDNIGHT when ordering, that triggers an exclusive offer of 3 months for free. Furthermore, Surfshark also offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying it out. Do check out the link in the description below for further details and to order. Thanks to Surfshark sponsoring this video, and with that, let's return to the recently announced changes to the Marvel release calendar. On September 1st, The Hollywood Reporter, one of Disney's go-to outlets for disseminating news that Disney wants out there but which aren't fit for an official press release, broke the exclusive scoop that Marvel are reshuffling their TV calendar. The article, which again is what Disney wants out there but don't want in a press release, reads: The writer's strike begun May 2nd while the actors went on strike July 14th, significantly impacting production and development. That's a setup and an excuse. Here comes the real message. At the same time, sources say Marvel wants to focus its efforts to make each title an event for fans and audience. The studio has decided that spreading out its content is a far more prudent strategy. In other words, they tacitly admit that their strategy up till now, flooding the market with as much content as humanly possible, a Bob Iger initiative, was a costly mistake that backfired big time. As we're about to see, the changes they're making go beyond productions that are directly affected by the strike. Case in point, Loki Season 2, the one production they have faith in, will be released in October as planned all along. No changes there. The second season of the animated What If will now be released around Christmas, probably to spread the content and give Loki some more space to breathe. Case in point. Echo, a spin-off from last year's hit Hawkeye, was originally announced for November 29th, but has now shifted to January of 2024. As previously announced, all the episodes will drop at the same time. Echo is complete and could in principle be dropped anytime, so this is just about getting what they reportedly know is a stinker away from Loki. And even more importantly, away from the Q4 earnings call Iger will have to deliver to shareholders. Echo is the only series where all the episodes will be dropped at once, and the persistent rumor is that is because they know it's so bad that they'd rather have all the negative press in one news cycle than spread across over several weeks. Then you might wonder, if it's so bad, why drop it at all? Well, that has to do with Daredevil. As we reported years ago, courtesy of the late great Mikey Sutton, Echo continues the events of Hawkeye, while Marvel's own Daredevil reboot continues the events of Echo. The Hollywood Reporter now confirms Echo, which centers on a character who is deaf and of Native American descent, and an amputee for extra ESG brownie points, let's not forget about that, is described as having a grittier and more grounded tone than some of the other Marvel series, and will feature appearances by Daredevil and villain the Kingpin. Those appearances allegedly aren't just cameos, but your homework for Daredevil. Forget about the excellent Netflix Daredevil series. Hawkeye and Echo are what you need to have seen in order to be up to speed with Kevin Feige's Daredevil. The Daredevil series, however, was genuinely affected by the strike, as in, it was shut down mid-filming, and so was Black Wonder Man. And there is no word on when either of the two will end up on the release calendar. Depending on how long the strike lasts, might not get released until 2025. However, the It Was Agatha All Along series, now retitled Agatha Darkhold Diaries, will be released around Halloween of 2024. Also, the animated X-Men 97 has been pushed back from late 2023 till early 2024. The bigger news, though, is about the series that is spun off from a movie and which will continue in another movie. The Hollywood Reporter writes, Ironheart, a show focused on genius inventor Riri Williams, first introduced in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, was to have dropped this fall, but that show is now off the schedule. It finished shooting, but its completion is affected by the strike. That's interesting, isn't it? It is done filming, therefore it is in fact not affected by the strikes, yet it's been taken off the calendar. Why would that be? Tempting as it may be to hope they've scrapped the whole thing, the more likely answer is that while it could have been finished up and released, like so many other recent Marvel projects, it's likely deemed to be in need of extensive reshoots. That's probably what they mean by its completion being affected by the strike, because during the strike they cannot write the required changes, nor can they film any reshoots, hence it's taken off the calendar. But what could the reshoots be about? The Hollywood Reporter doesn't say, because Disney doesn't want that out there, but comicbookmovie.com had some additional information. On September 2nd, they wrote, a new rumor claims the idea now is for Ironheart to be released in closer proximity to the long-delayed Armour Wars movie, which started off as a TV series. The project will put Don Cheadle's War Machine front and center, picking up with the aftermath of Secret Invasion. So, if this is accurate, Ironheart, the more diverse Iron Man for modern audiences, is being retooled to better fit in with Armour Wars, the Iron Man movie without Iron Man. Personally, I would have preferred if they had used the strike as a pretext to scrap them both, because no matter how well they may fit together, none of these Victoria Alonso leftover projects will win any audiences back or do any favors for the Marvel brand. They did scrap something else though. After Alan Horn had the bright idea to fire James Gunn, Kevin Feige had the bright idea to replace him with a bunch of Rick and Morty writers. More specifically, Jessica Gao, showrunner on She-Hulk, Michael Waldron, showrunner on Loki and writer of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, as well as the upcoming Avengers Secret Wars, and Jeff Loveness, writer of Ant-Man Quantumania and the upcoming Avengers The Kang Dynasty. No word on Jessica Gao, but following the tepid audience reaction to Doctor Strange and the equally tepid reaction to Quantumania, coupled with its box office underperformance, it is now widely circulated that both Waldron and Loveness are gone. This was reported by the scooper My Time to Shine Hello, and again, Comic Book Movie did a write-up on the story. If this is accurate, and it very well might be, that is a big step, because neither of the two upcoming Avengers movies now have any writers attached. But is that enough? What Marvel needs to even have a chance of recovery is to ditch all the ideopolitical propaganda we've been getting these past few years and find new talent who can elevate the MCU to the level James Gunn once did. We were always led to believe Kevin Feige was this master architect, but as it turned out, it was James Gunn who hammered out all the details of the entire Infinity Saga, because he needed that to be in place for his Guardians of the Galaxy, and it wasn't before he did it himself. Marvel needs someone else who can bring that level of A-game, and right now they don't have it. Getting rid of Loveness and Waldron is a good first step, but it's not enough. Not with all the other garbage they've still got coming out. Case in point, Ironheart, Armour Wars, Wonder Man, and Agatha all along should all be subject to a rethink and possible scrapping. Let's face facts here. All of Phases 4, 5, and 6 were dreamt up by people we later saw clearly weren't up for the job, so why stick with any of their plans? If anything, Marvel should use the strike as a pretext to scrap everything and start over with new talent and newly retooled Phases 5 and 6. As it is though, there are some positive signs, but too many projects there never was any kind of fan demand for whatsoever are still coming out, and chances are they will all be detrimental to the Marvel brand. As such, much more radical measures will be required if Disney hopes to fix it. Those are my thoughts at any rate. What are yours? Let me know in the comments, and before you go, remember that to help protect your data and bypass quarrelsome geo-blocking restrictions, you should get Surfshark VPN. Use our code MIDNIGHT to get 3 months for free. Link is in the description.